Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alda and this is Simply Me. Today we're going to talk about integers. So let's get started. So the first thing we have to know is, what are integers? Integers are numbers that has signs or symbols. These signs are either negative, or the minus sign, or positive, or the plus sign. An example of a negative number is -1 or -2. And an example of a positive number is +10 and +9. In positive numbers, it is either you put the plus sign with the number, or just leave the number by itself. But in negative numbers, you will always have to remember that you have to put a minus sign in order for it to be distinguished as a negative number. Without the minus sign, it will be considered as a positive number. So you must remember that rule. Now that we know what are integers, we can finally go on towards the next subject, which is also related to integers. These are the absolute value. The absolute value. The meaning of absolute value comes from the word itself, which is the absolute, which means pure, which also means that all the numbers that are inside the symbol of the absolute value becomes positive. The symbol for absolute value is these two numbers. So if a negative number, like -8, goes inside these two numbers, that negative number will become a positive number, just like what happened to -8 here in one of the examples. -8 turned into +8. Why? Because it is inside the symbol of the absolute value. But this can only be affected to the negative numbers. So if you put a positive number inside the absolute value, the answer will still remain positive. But what will happen if it's like this? So you can see that it is -3. It is inside the absolute value. But you will see that there is a minus sign outside the symbol. What is going to happen here? Okay, just follow the rules, which is, if it's inside the symbol, it will turn into +3. But since there is a negative sign outside the symbol, you have to put it to +3, and +3 will turn into -3. So that is how it is done. The other example is this one. How do you do this one? It is -4 inside a parenthesis. What are you going to do next? So, are you going to turn -4 into +4? No. Why? Because if you look closely, the -4 isn't inside an absolute value symbol. It is only inside a parenthesis. Since it is not an absolute value, you cannot turn this into a positive number, even though there is this one long line here. Because if it's only one line, it is not considered as the absolute value symbol. It has to be 2 lines. So the answer for this problem will still remain as -4. Now that we know the absolute value, we can finally go to the comparing values of integers. So the comparing values of integers is very different from comparing values of an ordinary number. Why? This is the example of comparing values of ordinary numbers. 10 is over 9, which means 10 is bigger than 9. Why? Well, 10 is a bigger value than the number 9. That's right. Very simple. But when it comes to comparing values of integers, it can be a little bit different. Why? Well, the first thing you must know is like our example, our first example, which is positive 1, is bigger than negative 10. Why is it like that? Isn't it supposed to be 10, well, negative 10 over positive 1? Because, negative 10, 10 itself is bigger than number 1. No, it's not like that. There is a rule that we have to follow. What is that rule? That is the number line rule. But what is a number line? Okay, let me show you what a number line looks like. This is a number line. As you can see on the number line, on the right side, you can see the negative side. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. But if you go to the left side, you will see positive 5, positive 4, positive 3, positive 2, positive 1. So what do you mean by this? Okay, remember this, guys. When your number is closer to the right side, which is the negative side, remember that the value of that number decreases. But when the number is closer to the left side, which is the positive side, the value of that number increases. So, the reason why positive 1 is bigger than negative 10 is that positive 1 is closer to the left side, which means that the value is increased. But since the negative 10 is on the right side, which is way over there, the value of number 10 is decreased. That's why positive 1 is bigger than negative 10. Simple. Next is negative 20 and negative 2. So you can see here that negative 2 is bigger than negative 20. Why is it like that? Aren't they both negative numbers? So it should be negative 20, right? Like take out the negative sign and then 20. Done. No, that's not it. Why? Remember the rule. If your number is closer to the left side, then it would mean that the value of that number has increased. But if your number is closer to the right side, the value of that number decreases. Simple. Since negative 2, look, which is closer to the left side? Negative 20 or negative 2? It is negative 2. That's why negative 2 has a bigger value than negative 20. It's because negative 20 is way over there on the right side. Like I said again, if your number is closer to the right side, their value decreases. But if your number is closer to the left side, their value increases. That's why negative 2 is bigger than negative 20. How about this one? Negative 3 is what to positive 6? It says here positive 6 is bigger than negative 3. Why? Well, positive 6 is closer to the left side rather than negative 3. That is why. And that is how you compare the values of integers. It is very, very different from comparing values of an ordinary number. Okay? So you guys must remember when you're in this subject is that if you see a number line and then your number is closer to the left side, their value increases. But if your number is closer to the right side, their value decreases. And that is how you compare the values of the integers. And that is all. Okay guys, this is the end for part 1 of integers. I'm actually going to upload a part 2 of this, so make sure to keep in tune or to keep in touch. And I hope you guys learned something in this video. This is Ilda. This is my channel, and I'm going to wrap it up now. So see you guys later. Bye!